Today I'm finally making my chest tattoo update, which is long overdue. This is technically a follow-up video from the update that I did back in 2020, but that was around the time when my channel had a long break, so I wasn't making any videos, which means that I never got around to making this particular video. But seeing as I recently did another upgrade to my chest tattoo, I thought it would be nice to fill you guys in on the previous experience first before I do the whole reveal. Especially if you're new here, I do recommend watching the update video first, just so that you know the whole story and what exactly happened with my chest piece, because it's been a really long journey. But basically what happened was that the first time I tattooed my chest, I got massive blowouts. Then in the following years I had some laser sessions done to it. And the tattoo experience that I want to talk about today is the second time that I tattooed my chest in total, but the first time I tattooed it after having laser done to it. So this all happened back in December of 2020. I only really get to travel once a year, so it's usually around Christmas time when I travel to meet my family. There aren't any tattoo studios where I live, so I would have to travel to get my tattoo fixed anyways, which kind of makes it perfect to get tattooed there. So I tried looking for tattoo artists that specialized in black work, but honestly there aren't many. But I did come across a new tattoo studio, which was owned by a guy that I had seen at a different studio in the same town. So when I got my arm tattooed, he was the receptionist, I believe. He might have been tattooing as well, but now I found out that he had started his own studio with his girlfriend. So they had a completely new studio where he did tattooing and she did what's it called? Like beauty tattoos, doing eyebrow razoring and whatever. I forgot the name. And I really liked his work that I saw on Instagram. I seem to remember he had both fresh tattoos and healed work on there, especially because of my previous experience with finding a tattoo artist. I definitely wanted to make sure that I went to a good one this time. Honestly, it looked kind of perfect. Like I knew him from the previous tattoo studio. All of his work looked amazing. And I even found someone selling like a gift card on like a local Facebook group to his studio, which I ended up buying. The gift card was worth more than what I paid for it, so I actually saved some money on that too, which was great. Not really relevant, but I just wanted to include it because everything just seemed kind of too perfect. And yeah, if you know me, I'm slightly cursed, so if anything can go wrong, it usually does. So I get there in December, right before Christmas. Studio looks amazing. I did a few short video clips of it just so you can see what it looked like. Before we started, one thing I was definitely sure of in my mind was that I definitely wanted him to make a stencil for my tattoo so that we could get it perfectly symmetrical and straight. That was the one thing I really wanted him to do as a tattoo artist. Because I was making the same design as I had before, and just slightly bigger to cover the blowouts and just the shitty look of it in general. But when I talked to him, he did not want to make a stencil. Even though I have really bad social anxiety and a really hard time standing up for myself, I did actually tell him a second time no, I really want you to make a stencil because I need this to be straight looking. And I mean, that's really hard to do by hand, but he declined again. I can't really remember if he gave me an actual reason, but I think maybe it was the fact that my tattoo was not straight from before, so that it would be really hard to make a stencil to fit the whole old tattoo within that stencil. But in my mind, it's just make the whole design larger so that everything does fit in it eventually. But he really did not want to do that, so I didn't feel like pushing him further because one, I don't think it would have mattered because he kind of had his mind made up, and two, I don't really want to be too confrontational, seeing as I'm gonna get tattooed by him for several hours and we need a good atmosphere. You don't want the person tattooing you to hate you or something, because then they might not even do a good job. You never know. I really just had to put my trust in him. He basically just took a marker and traced around my old tattoo, which I kind of knew would come out crooked, seeing as the original tattoo was crooked. Like, just tracing around it wouldn't have made it any better, you know? Maybe I just kind of agreed to it also because I had been stuck with that heavily lasered tattoo for like 4 years by that time, and I just really wanted something like solid black. So I kind of would have been happy with any result, maybe, I don't know. Still though, I put my trust in the tattoo artist, seeing as he now had his own studio and I had seen his work on Instagram. Everything really looked amazing. But then for some reason, me, the cursed person, ends up with something that's not good at all. I'll definitely include some pictures here of some of his work from Instagram, just so you can compare what other non-cursed people are getting and then what I ended up with. The actual tattoo experience was great. He seemed like a great guy and very easygoing, and I feel like we had a good time there. I think we spent around 3 to 4 hours maybe in total. Definitely one of the more painful tattoos that I've had, but nothing too bad. So then after my chest was done, I also asked him to freshen up the stripes that I have on my ear. Now these are very old and faded. I got them when I was around 19, I think. So in 2007, maybe early 2008. And when I got them, this older tattoo artist had also royally fucked up the stripes, because they weren't only on the edge of my ear like I wanted them to be, but they were also on the flat part of my ear. So when I had laser done on my chest piece, I also had 2 sessions done on my ear. Not on the actual stripes on the edge, but just on the part I was on the inside. Yeah, I never shared that story because I wasn't making videos at that time, but that was one of my very first tattoos, maybe like my second or third. And when I got them done, he didn't mark it or anything. That guy just kind of did the stripes with the machine. So of course, me being cursed, it ended up not like I wanted them to. I mean, I didn't really know much about tattooing then because I was 19. Yeah, I kind of knew that he probably should have marked them with a pen or something. Again, I just kind of trusted the artist and let him do the stripes by hand, whatever he thought was the best. When I got them done, he just kind of freehanded it with the machine. I went to look in the mirror and saw that he had gone way too far into my ear. But of course at that time the damage was done, so I couldn't really say anything because that wouldn't have made any difference. I'm still baffled how you can mess up stripes on the edge of the ear and like work your way into the flat of the ear. Like, it's really not that hard to understand, for me at least. So that was the first time. So after having laser on it 2 times and the stripes looking really faded because they were like 15 years old at this time in 2020, I just wanted this new tattoo artist to go over the same old stripes to freshen them up and make them look crisp black again. And of course, seeing as I already had the stripes on my ear, I didn't think that he would stencil it out or mark it, because the old tattoo is basically a stencil for him to follow. So yeah, he did not mark anything. He just asked, okay, so you want me to go over the old stripes? And I said yes. I even said like specifically just on the rim, because I was like having PTSD from the first time when he didn't just do the rim. So I was like, do just the rim from here, like the edge, the start of the edge, and around to the back. And he specifically said, okay, so over the old stripes. And I said again, yes. So then he goes to tattoo my ear. I go to check the mirror. I remember it being actually a bit dark in the corner where they had like a standing mirror. But anyways, I tried my best to like go close to the mirror, look at it. Right then and there, after just having it tattooed, my ear is like really tender and sore, and of course I couldn't touch it because it's a fresh tattoo. So I just kind of had to try and look at it in the mirror, maybe touch a little bit down here to try and see the stripes on the back. and honestly it looked fine then and there. So I left kind of happy. Like I said earlier, this was right before Christmas, so I actually had to do some last minute Christmas shopping in town. So straight after my tattoo appointment, I went out shopping, and then when I went to the bathroom at a mall, I decided to just double check my ear because it was like a much brighter, like a very bright lit mirror, so I could actually see what was happening. So I did try to like slightly bend my ear, and that's when I noticed that he had not gone all the way to the back, like not even maybe to the middle of my ear. They were just like halfway done. So I was kind of freaking out because he was closing soon. Right after that it was Christmas break and I was leaving back to my hometown again, so like there was no time to kind of fix this other than this specific day. Immediately called him and like asked, are you still open, because I'm not happy with the stripes on my ear. And he was like, oh sorry, I just closed up and like left, and now it's Christmas break, you know, so no time to fix it then and there. So I ended up with having half of the stripes on my ear freshened up, while the middle and out to the back still looks like the old faded 15-year-old tattoo. And I'm just freaking mind blown how two different tattoo artists can fuck up such a simple request as like stripes on the edge of the ear, and especially the second time having the old lines there to follow, and still he manages to fuck up. I don't know anymore. It's the curse, I'm telling you. And of course, later on, when I got back home after the tattoo had settled in and healed, I started to like really look at it and see if it was better than before. And I did notice a couple of things that I still wasn't happy with. So first off, it was definitely still crooked, because I mean, he basically just traced my old crooked tattoo without making any improvements to the straightness. Secondly, it ended up healing very patchy. This could of course have happened in the healing process, but it could also be the tattoo artist not packing the solid black color enough. I can't really know for sure. But also, since I was traveling, I didn't really have the opportunity to go back and have a touch-up, which is kind of usual when you get solid black done, because it is hard to get everything like solid the first time. So usually there's a like follow-up session where you just go over everything again to make it like nice and saturated. And thirdly, the thing I hated the most was that I finally noticed how off-center the whole thing was. So when I originally got this tattoo, when he put the very first stencil on, he did not trace the middle of my chest in any way to like center the stencil. He just kind of slapped it on there. And like I said, maybe that's slightly on me for not checking it properly while I was there. But again, I just kind of put my faith in the tattoo artist, because I'm also too shy and anxious in that moment when I'm there to think too much about it. Maybe that's slightly on me, but I still feel like in the end it's the tattoo artist's job to make sure that it's as straight as possible on the client, right? Since we didn't make a new, bigger stencil the second time, and he just kind of traced the old one, of course it was still off center. And yeah, that is how I ended up with still a shitty chest piece tattoo and a half done striped ear. As of right now, I have slightly upgraded my chest piece already. I finally had the opportunity to travel to Oslo, and I got 2 tattoos in 2 days. One of them being the chest piece, and the second a completely new tattoo. So coming up later this week, or maybe the next week, I will do a double tattoo reveal. I was considering doing only the new tattoo, because my chest piece is actually not fully done yet. We just didn't have time to add everything that we wanted to. So it's maybe like 85% done. In my opinion, looks better than what I had at least. But I'm still not 100% satisfied. I just hope that when I go back in about 2 months to have my second session, I will end up finally liking the result. I definitely think it has the potential to finally be a good looking chest piece in the end. So if you still wanna continue this chest piece journey with me and also see my new tattoos, remember to subscribe if you aren't already so you don't miss out on my new videos. A huge thank you to my 2 patrons, Fanny and Elliot, for making these videos happen. And then I hope to see you in my next one. Vi ses!